Are you ready to embark on a journey through time to meet the most rebellious philosopher of all? A man whose ideas shook the very foundations of society and whose end was nothing short of tragic. Welcome to the incredible story of Socrates. Part 1. A philosopher in the streets of Athens. Around 470 BC, in Athens, everyone was minding their own business, merchants selling their wares in the agora, marketplace bustling with activity, people debating politics, philosophers discussing the latest ideas. It was just another day in the heart of ancient Greece. But amidst this sea of faces, there was one man who stood out from the rest. He didn't have much to sell, no fancy goods or groundbreaking theories. What he had was something far more valuable, his insatiable curiosity and a sharp wit to match. And so he roamed the streets of Athens, asking questions, challenging beliefs, and stirring up debate wherever he went. But the people of Athens were not always receptive to his methods. They scoffed at his questions, rolled their eyes at his retorts, and sometimes even lashed out at his audacity. Yet he never backed down. With every question he chipped away at their complacency, urging them to think deeper, to question their assumptions and to be better. But who was this man, and why did he do what he did? Well, his name was Socrates, and he was on a mission to uncover the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Have you ever truly questioned what you think you know? Let us know in the comments below. Part 2. Questions. With every question, Socrates challenged people's minds. He questioned their beliefs, their values, and their understanding of the world around them. At first, people were annoyed, then intrigued, and then inspired. Some became his devoted followers, eager to learn from his wisdom and insight. But others saw him as a threat, a dangerous outsider who was challenging the status quo, and they wanted him silenced. One day, Socrates was in the marketplace when he heard a group of young men talking about their admiration for the great philosopher Protagoras. "I am the measure of all things," Protagoras had declared. "All I know is that I know nothing." Socrates was intrigued and decided to engage them in a little game of friendly debate. "What if I told you that you are actually the measure of all things?" he asked, turning the tables on them. The young men were taken aback, but they rose to the challenge and argued vehemently against Socrates' proposition. And so the debate raged on back and forth, until finally Socrates turned to them and said, "This is why I say that I know nothing." The young men looked at him in confusion and anger. "What do you mean?" they demanded. "You said that we were the measure of all things." Socrates smiled enigmatically and replied, "And I still believe that to be true. But it is precisely because I understand how limited our knowledge is that I claim to know nothing. For if we think we know everything, then we are only fooling ourselves." The young men were left speechless, realizing the depth of Socrates' wisdom. But some couldn't accept it. In a free society, there should be no limits to thought, no boundaries to inquiry, and certainly no silencing of those who dared to question the status quo. But the Athenians were not so enlightened. They feared change, resented outsiders, and would stop at nothing to protect their way of life. And Socrates, with his endless questions and challenges, was seen as a threat to their way of life. Part 3. Accusation. As the years went by, Socrates continued to roam the streets of Athens, asking questions and challenging beliefs. But his actions did not go unnoticed, and soon he found himself in the crosshairs of the city's elite. The accusation was nothing short of shocking, corrupting the youth and impiety. The trial began, and Socrates, calm and collected, defended himself against the charges. His words were a powerful defense of free thought and intellectual inquiry, but the jury was not convinced. The verdict was a resounding guilty, and Socrates was sentenced to death. Dramatic tension builds as Socrates prepares to meet his fate. Part 4. Death sentence. In 399 BC, Socrates was accused of corrupting the youth and impiety. The court listened intently as the prosecution painted a picture of Socrates as a dangerous and subversive thinker. But Socrates, unfazed by the accusations, calmly and confidently defended himself. His words echoed with wisdom and conviction, leaving the court both intrigued and slightly intimidated. But unfortunately, the jury was not convinced. Despite the dramatic tension, the verdict was harsh. Socrates was sentenced to death, As the news of his impending doom spread through the streets of Athens, a sense of foreboding settled over the city. Socrates, however, remained resolute. He accepted his fate with stoic acceptance and turned to his students, imparting one last bit of wisdom. "Wisdom is knowing your own ignorance," he said, "before death." And with that, he walked calmly towards his executioners, ready to embrace his fate. Part 5. Immortal Ideas. As the hemlock took effect, a hush fell over the crowd. Socrates' head fell, his breathing slowed, and his eyes fluttered closed. But his ideas continued to echo through the streets of Athens and beyond. After his death, his followers carried on his work, ensuring that his teachings and philosophy survived the test of time. And so it was that the greatest rebel of all, whose ideas had shaken the foundations of society, met his end, not with a bang, but with a whisper. Yet his voice continues to resonate through the ages, inspiring thinkers and dreamers to question everything and seek the truth no matter the cost. Socrates is considered one of the founders of Western philosophy. His ideas and teachings have shaped the way we think and question the world around us. But what about you? How will you honor his legacy and carry on his mission to seek the truth? Are you ready to step into the shoes of these legendary figures and let your imagination run wild? If so, then start your adventure today and let the world be your oyster. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the remarkable life of Socrates. Now it's time for you to take the stage and leave your own mark on history. So grab the mic, share your thoughts, and let your voice be heard. But remember, the greatest show on earth is the one we put on inside our minds. Keep questioning, keep exploring, and above all, keep believing in the power of your own mind. Until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and above all, stay awesome.